Hello and welcome to the chapter on string manipulation. This is the part 3 of this particular chapter, and in this part we are going to discuss about the concept of string slicing. So let's get started with the concept of slicing. So what do we mean by string slicing? String slicing refers to displaying only a part of the entire string. Suppose we have a string called India and we don't want to display the entire string India but only a part of it, then it is referred to as string slicing. Now, how string slicing is done? String slicing is done in Python using a range of indices. Now, as you already know from the part 1 of this particular video, of this particular chapter, each character in a string consists of a number. That number is known as the index. So each character has a particular number. That number is known as index. So string slicing is done in Python by using the concept of indexes itself. Now let's see the syntax by which the basic string slicing is done. The syntax goes as follows. We need to give the name of the string, and then within the third bracket we need to specify the lower limit and the upper limit. Here L stands for the lower limit index of the string and U stands for upper limit index of the string. We will discuss it with the help of some examples, and then it will be much more clearer. Python, after using this syntax, what Python will do? Python will return a string in the range of lower limit to upper limit minus 1. Let's see what I mean by this statement with the help of an example. So let's say I have a string called India, and as I have already mentioned in the previous slide, each character of a string has a number associated with it. That number is known as indexes. Here we have indexes starting from 0 to n minus 1, where n is the length of the string. What is the length of the string? How many characters are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So length of the string is 5. So indexes will go from 0 to 4. 0 to length minus 1, Each string has a name. Let's assume that the name of this string is X, and these are the indices as I have already said just now. So if I want to do string slicing here, so for example, let's say I want to display NDI. So here what I am trying to do, I am trying to apply the concept of string slicing, because as we have already discussed in the previous slide, string slicing means what? String slicing means displaying only a part of the entire string. So let's say I want to display NDI. So for doing that, what I'll do? So at first I need to write X equals to India. I've given a name X to the string India. Now what did the syntax say? The syntax says that we need to give the name of the string, and within the third bracket we need to specify the lower limit and the upper limit. So here if I give X 1 is to 4, then what will be displayed? NDI will be displayed. So as we have already seen in the previous slide, the string indices in the range of lower limit to upper limit minus 1 will be displayed. So what is the lower limit here? The lower limit here is 1. What is the upper limit here? The upper limit here is 4. So which part of the string will be displayed? From lower limit, that is 1, to upper limit minus 1, that is 3. And as a result, the answer that we are getting is NDI. Alright. Now let's suppose I want to display INDI. Then how will I write it? I'll have to write X and then within bracket the lower limit, that is 0, and since I want to display till the third index, I need to give one more index than that. Therefore, I need to give the index as 4. So if I give X 0 is to 4, then I'll get the result as IND and I. In a string slice, the last character at the last index is not included in the result. As I have already repeated many times, the last index character will not be repeated here. So here if I see the latest example, what was the character at the last index? It is A, but has A come in the answer? A has not come in the answer. So always remember, when we do string slicing, the upper limit is not displayed. The character one lower than the upper limit will be displayed. Alright, so let's see it in the screen. So if I write x equals to India, if I display x, then entire string will be displayed, but if I want to slice it, then I need to give the string name, that is x in this case. If I want to display from first to the third index, then I need to give 1:4. I need to give one index greater than the requested character. So I am getting here NDI. So the character at the index I is 1 is N, the character at the index 2 is D, and the character at the index 3 is I. And A resides at the fourth index, and the fourth index will not be shown in the output screen. Alright, now let's go to the next example. I'll take the same string, that is India, and here what I'll do, I'll be taking the backward indexes. I have already discussed what backward index is in the part 1 of this particular chapter. You can of course go and revise that concept before if you are not very clear with the backward index. So backward index starts from the right hand side from -1 to minus length. So it has begun at A, which is the rightmost character of the string, and it has ended at I, which is the first character of the string. So this is the backward index or the negative indices. Now if I want to use negative indices to slice a string, then also the syntax will be same. For example, if x equals to India, if I want to display N and D by negative index, then what I'll do, I'll have to write x -4 is to -2. The same rule will follow, that the last index or the upper limit index character will not be displayed. As a result, ND will be displayed in the output screen. Now, one more trick is here. If I want to reverse a string, then the syntax is string name is to -1. So if I write x is to -1, what it will do? It will simply reverse the string. So I and DIA would be read as AIDNI. What it has done? It has simply reversed the string. So the syntax is string name is to -1 is used for reversing a string. It comes quite handy many a times while programming for certain big programs like checking for a palindrome and stuff like that. So you should remember this syntax, the shortcut trick for reversing a string. So let me show you the concept of reversing. So if I want to reverse India, then x is to -1, and it will give me the output in a reversed form. Let's see some more examples related to string slicing. These are the indexes, this is the string name, and these are the indexes. Now if I write x is to 4, what it means? It means I want to display the string starting from the first character to the upper limit index -1. That means what will be displayed here? Any guesses? Yes, if you have guessed I and DI, that is Indi, then it is correct. So as you can see here, as I press the enter key, I'll get the answer as I and DI. Missing index before colon is taken as 0. So you should remember that if I do not give the lower limit index but just the upper limit index, that means I want to slice the string starting from the first index, that is the 0th index, if I talk about the forward indexing concept. Next up, if I write x 3 is 2, that means what am I missing here? I am missing the upper limit index. Then what will be the answer? You can predict here, and if your prediction is IA, then it is correct. So it will be displayed as IA. So if I do not specify the upper limit index, that is missing index after colon is taken as the last index. So here it will be taken as the last index, that is 4, and hence the result is IA. So now if I want to get the original string, there is a technique, that is string is to n plus string is to n string n is to, it will return the original string. Let's see what I mean with the help of an example. So if I write x is to 3 plus x 3 is 2, then I'll get the result as INDIA. That means I'll get the original string. It will work with any index, even the negative ones. So if I write x is to minus 2 plus x minus 2 is 2, then also I'll get the original string, that is India. This is just like a formula. Okay, so let me just show it to you and say you how or why it is occurring. So this is our original string. So if I write x 2 is 2, that means what? From the second index 0, 1, 2, that is from D, I want to display till the end. If I write x is to 2, that means the lower limit index is missing. That means I want to display from the first character to the index minus 1. That means IN. And we have already seen the concept of concatenation in the previous part. If I join both of this string, if x is to 2 plus x 2 is 2, what it will do? It will result in concatenation. That means it will give the original string as the result. I hope this concept is clear. Now let us go to another variation of string slicing, that is string slicing with step value. Sometimes we may not require the consecutive characters of a string. We might want to skip certain characters in between. If I want to do that, then I need to use the concept of step value. So what is step value used for? Step value is used in order to skip certain characters of a string while slicing strings. Let's try to understand with an example. I have taken the same string into account. Now, if I want to display IDA, that means what? I am skipping one character in between. So, in this case, I need to take the help of step value. Let's see the syntax. The syntax says that string name, and then within third bracket, we need to enclose lower limit is to upper limit is to step value. Step value means how many characters you want to skip. So let's say the string x is India. If I write x 0 is to 5 is to 2, that means display every second character of the string. That means what will be the answer? I, D and A. Now, if I want to display N and A, what will be the formula for doing that? X, that is the string name, then within the third bracket 1, that is the lower limit, is to 5, that is the upper limit, is to 3. Why 3? Because I have skipped 3 characters in between. So what it means? It means to display every third character of the string. So I'll get the result as N, A. It can be used even with negative indices. As you can see here, the indexes are changed. If I want to display Ni with the help of negative indexes, then also it will be supported with this concept. So I can write x minus 4, that is the lower limit, is to minus 1, that is upper limit. Obviously we need to give one less than the upper limit, is to 2. That means display every second character of the string. So as we can see here, it will be supported with the help of negative indexes 2, and the result is Ni. Alright, so let's try to see this. So if I display, if I write x 1 is to, let's say 5 is to 2, then what will be displayed? I will be displayed, the step value is 2 here, and will be skipped. Sorry, I have given what? Yeah, 0, 1, x1. Okay, let's display x here. So if I write 1 is to 5 is to 2, then what will be displayed? Ni will be displayed. Why Ni? What is the character stored at the index 1? N is stored at the index 1. Then the step value is 2. That means display every second character of the string. That means D will be skipped, and then the next character will be displayed, that is I. The The upper limit is 5, that means 5 minus 1 is 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. The fourth character will not be displayed here because here I am using the step value as 2. Alright, this is how you can skip certain characters from a string. So it's not necessary that you need to display only consecutive characters. If you want, you can skip certain characters in between, as you can see here. You can of course take different kinds of string and experiment for yourself. Now, if I want to display the last n characters of a string, suppose question comes to display the last 3 characters of a string, then what is the syntax? Then the syntax is string name, then within bracket we need to give minus n is 2. Okay, here we need to use the negative index here. What is the meaning of n? N means the number of characters to be displayed. So if x is India, x minus 2 is 2 means I want to display the last 2 characters of the string India. So minus 2 is 2 will fetch me what? It will fetch me IA. If I write x minus 4 is 2, that means I want to display the last 4 characters of the string India. That means NDIA will be displayed, and so on. Okay, so let me test it for you. This is x, that is India. If I write x minus 3 is 2, sorry, it is displaying the last 3 characters of the string India. If I write x minus 2 is 2, what it is doing? It is displaying me the last 2 characters of the string India. Alright, let's move ahead and see the next concept, that is the concept of palindrome. Now, before going ahead, we need to know what palindrome is. What is a palindrome? A string that reads the same in both directions is called a palindrome. So if we have a string, let's say Nayan, if I read it from left to right, it is reading as what? It is reading as Nayan. If I read it from right to left, what it reads? It will read the same, that is Nayan. Some other examples like Malayalam. If I read it from left to right or from right to left, it reads the same. Or LOL. If I read from left to right or from right to left, it will read the same. Left to right, right to left, it is the same. So such kind of strings which reads the same from both the directions, these are known as palindromes. Alright. Some examples of strings which are not palindromes are cat. If I read it from left to right, it is cat. If I read it from right to left, it is tack. So is it a palindrome? No, because it's not reading the same from both the directions. If I say ball, if I read it from left to right, it reads as ball. If I read it from right to left, it will read as LLAP. That means these are not palindromes. Okay. So now let us do one thing. Let us write a program to accept a string from the user and check whether it is a palindrome or not. Alright. So let me just do this program for you. You can try it by yourself by pausing the video here. Okay, so I'll write the name of the program here. Write a program in Python to accept a string from the user and check whether it is a palindrome or not. This is known as a comment. I hope you know about comments. Comments are not displayed in the output screen and it has no effect on the program. It is just for the user friendliness, for making the program more readable or understandable. It's a good practice to give comments at the start of any program. Anyways, let's begin with the program. We need to accept a string from the user. For accepting a string from the user, we use the input function. So let's take a variable, let's say it to be x equals to, let's say, input, enter a string to check for palindrome. Okay, now someone can give a mix of uppercase and lowercase. So in order to remove that ambiguity, what we are doing, we are giving the lower function here. What lower function does, it will convert everything, even if we give it in uppercase, into a lowercase. More about that in the upcoming parts. Now, how to check, how can we conclude that a particular string is a palindrome? Now, if the string reads the same both ways, that means from right to left and from left to right, then it is known as a palindrome. Now, while showing you the concept of string slicing, I already said that for reversing a string, there was a syntax which is string name is to -1. We are going to use that concept here. So how to do that? If the original string, which is x, equals to x is to -1. That means if the original string is equal to the reversed string, then we can conclude that it is a palindrome. Okay, so I can conclude that the string entered is a palindrome. All right. Otherwise, if this condition is not fulfilled, it's a very simple program. We can say that the string entered is not a palindrome. Okay, now let me save this program as by any name. You can give any name, just you need to give .py. Okay, something by that name exists. Now I need to run that program, so I'll go to run and click on run module. Okay, let me just close this shell and run again for better viewing angle. So if I run this program, what will come? Enter a string to check for palindrome. Let's say I give the string as Nayan. It is palindrome because it reads the same both ways. So it is being displayed that the string entered is a palindrome. Let me run this program again. Now let us give cat. Cat does not read the same both forward and backwards. Therefore, it is not a palindrome. So if I have to explain it, it's a very simple program. At first, I received the string from the user, converted it into lowercase if I give it in uppercase or a mixture of uppercase and lowercase, and I have stored that string in the variable x. Then what I did, I compared the original string to the reversed version of the string. How to reverse a string? By the syntax is to -1. So if both of these are equal, then I displayed that it is a palindrome. And if it is not equal, then we have only one condition left, that is the string entered is not a palindrome. All right. So here, this is the program which we did just now, and here the first string is given as Malayalam and the string entered is a palindrome. Here why this lower is given, otherwise if I do not give dot lower for Malayalam, it will show that the string is not a palindrome. But since I gave dot lower, it will convert everything into lowercase and then it will check the result. If I use another concept or another input, then let's say I gave the input as Raju here, and it is giving that the string entered is not a palindrome. All right. So today we'll do till this much only. I hope that the session is useful. Let's meet in the next session. Thank you very much.